What if I told you that some of the absolute best tax breaks in the US code are reserved specifically for real estate investors, and that these tax breaks are so powerful that some real estate investors are able to bring their tax bills all the way down to zero? Hey there, I'm Tiffany Phillips, CPA and tax strategist, and today I'm breaking down the top 9 rental property tax deductions that could save you thousands of dollars in 2026. If you own rental property or you're thinking about getting into real estate investing, this video is going to be a game changer for your taxes. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell because I share tax saving strategies like this every week. And if this video helps you discover deductions you didn't know about, smash that like button. It helps other real estate investors find this crucial information. Even though most real estate investors have the opportunity to dramatically reduce their tax bill, not all of them do. The main reason, they simply don't know about all the deductions they could be claiming. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which deductions you can take, how to calculate them, and most importantly, how to make sure you're not leaving money on the table. Let's jump right in. Let's start with the absolute king of rental property deductions, depreciation. This is the one that can literally make you cash flow positive while showing a tax loss on paper. If you're not familiar with depreciation, it's the general wear and tear that occurs to your rental property over time. This wear and tear comes from tenants causing damage or simply from the passage of time. Things break, right? Here's what makes this so powerful. The IRS allows you to deduct the full cost of your rental property building, not including the land value over a specific period of time. For residential properties, you get to write off the building value over 27.5 years. For commercial properties, it's 39 years. Let me show you how this works with a real example. Let's say you buy a rental property for $500,000. About 80% of that is typically the building value, so $400,000. You divide that $400,000 by 27.5 years and you get about $14,545 in depreciation you can deduct every single year. But here's the kicker. This is a non-cash deduction. You're not actually paying $14,545 out of pocket, but you get to reduce your taxable income by that amount every year. This is why you can have a positive cash flow from your rental property, but show a loss for tax purposes. And there's an even more powerful strategy called accelerated depreciation using cost segregation studies. This allows you to take 30 to 50% of your total depreciation in the first 5 to 7 years instead of spreading it over 27.5 years. If you want me to create a very detailed video on exactly what cost segregation is and how it can benefit you, let me know in the comment. If you own rental property and you're not taking depreciation, you're literally throwing money away. Comment depreciation below. Now let's talk about repairs. But I need to give you a warning first. This is where I see people make massive mistakes that can cost them tens of thousands of dollars. You can absolutely deduct repairs on your rental property. Things like fixing a garbage disposal, patching holes in the walls, replacing broken fixtures. These are dollar for dollar deductions against your rental income in the year you make them. But here's where people mess up. They confuse repairs with improvements. If you buy a house for $100,000 and spend $30,000 renovating the kitchen, you cannot deduct that full $30,000 in the current year. The IRS views that as a capital improvement, which means you have to add it to your property's basis and depreciate it over 27.5 years. Let me show you the difference. A repair maintains the property in good operating condition, like fixing a leaky faucet. An improvement adds value or extends the useful life, like installing a new kitchen. According to IRS publication 527, things like new roofs, HVAC systems, flooring, security systems, and major landscaping are typically improvements, not repairs. But here's a strategy most people don't know about. There's a safe harbor rule for small repairs. If a repair costs less than $2,500, you can generally treat it as a deductible repair. And if you maintain good financial records for other purposes like loan reporting, that safe harbor doubles to $5,000. The key is documentation. Keep detailed records of what you spend money on and why. Don't let your accountant automatically classify everything as an improvement when some of it should be deductible repairs. Here's a deduction that's going to blow your mind, especially if you've been listening to bad advice about mortgage interest. Real estate investors can deduct all mortgage interest on their rental properties. Unlike your personal residence where there's limits, there is no cap on investment property mortgage interest deductions. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is going to break some people's brains. That mortgage interest could be against your primary residence. Let me explain. Let's say you have a home equity line of credit on your personal residence and you use that money to buy a rental property. That interest is deductible deductible against your rental income, even though the loan is secured by your personal home. Why? Because you're using the money for investment purposes. The IRS doesn't care what secures the loan. They care what you use the money for. I've seen people use credit cards to buy rental property, and yes, that interest is deductible because it's investment interest. Your accountant might tell you that this is wrong because they're thinking about personal mortgage interest rules. That investment property interest rules are completely different. There's no $750,000 limit, no acquisition debt requirements. If you borrow money for your rental property, the interest is deductible, period. Now let's talk about a deduction that every single rental property owner should be taking, but most aren't: the home office deduction. If you had any space in your home that you use regularly and exclusively for your rental property business, you can deduct it. This could be a dedicated office or just a corner of a room where you keep your rental property files and do your rental-related work. You have two options for calculating this deduction. The simplified method lets you deduct $5 per square foot up to 300 square feet, so a maximum of $1,500. The actual expense method lets you deduct the actual cost of running your home office based on the percentage of your home it represents. But here's the real gold mine. Once you establish a home office, every time you drive from your home to check on your rental properties, that becomes a deductible business mile. Without a home office, that's considered commuting and isn't deductible. At 70 cents per mile in 2025, this can add it fast. If you drive 2,000 miles per year for your rental property business, that's $1,400 in additional deduction. And there's an advanced strategy. Consider setting up a management company, an LLC taxed as an S Corp or C Corp. This allows you to reimburse yourself tax-free for a much larger portion of your home expenses, including utilities, property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Let's talk about professional fees, and I want to address something that stops a lot of people from getting into real estate investing. Most people avoid rental properties because they're afraid of legal issues: eviction, tenant lawsuits, property damage claims. But here's what you need to know. All of these legal expenses are tax deductible. Your accounting fees, legal fees, property management fees, insurance premiums, all of these are dollar for dollar deductions against your rental income. If you have to evict a tenant and it costs you $3,000 in legal fees, that's a $3,000 deduction. If someone sues you over your rental property and you spend $10,000 defending yourself, that's a $10,000 deduction. Your insurance is particularly important and completely deductible. This includes property insurance, liability insurance, flood insurance, and umbrella policies. If you're serious about real estate investing, you should have a commercial umbrella policy that covers your rental activities. Don't forget about property management fees either. Whether you hire a company to manage your properties or you pay someone to handle maintenance and repairs, those are all deductible business expenses. And here's something most people miss. You pay for software to manage your rentals, advertising to find tenants, background check fees, or even lock boxes and keys. All of these are deductible expenses. Now let's talk about travel expenses, because this is where you can rack up significant deductions if you do it right. Any travel related to your rental property business is deductible. This includes local travel to check on properties, meet with contractors, show properties to potential tenants, or handle maintenance issues. You can deduct these using either the standard mileage rate, which is 70 cents per mile in 2025, or the actual expense method, where you track your actual car expenses and deduct the business percentage. For most people, the mileage method is simpler and often results in a larger deduction. Just make sure you're keeping a mileage log that shows the date, destination, business purpose, and miles driven. But it's not just local travel. If you own rental properties in other cities or states, your travel expenses to visit those properties are fully deductible. This includes airfare, hotels, rental cars, and meals. Here's a pro tip. If you're looking at buying rental properties in other markets, those trips can be deductible too, as long as you're seriously evaluating potential investments. Keep documentation of the properties you looked at, and don't forget about parking fees, tolls, and even Uber or taxi rides related to your rental property business. All are deductible. Let's talk about property taxes, because this is one I see people forget all the time. Unlike personal property taxes, which are limited to $10,000 per year, if you're married filing jointly, there is no limit on property tax deductions for rental properties. You can deduct every penny you pay in property taxes on your investment properties. Sometimes these taxes are paid through your mortgage escrow account, so you might not even think about them. But make sure your accountant is capturing these on your Schedule E. Now for utilities. It depends on your rental arrangement. If your tenants pay their own utilities, obviously you can't deduct them. But if you pay for any utilities, water, sewer, trash, landscaping, snow removal, these are all deductible. This is particularly common with multifamily properties where the landlord might pay for water and sewer, or single-family homes where the landlord maintains landscaping. Don't forget about HOA fees either. If your rental property is in a homeowners association and you pay monthly or annual fees, these are fully deductible business expenses. Here's the bonus strategy that most people don't know about. You can pay your family members for legitimate work on your rental properties and it's tax deductible. You can pay them for age-appropriate work like cleaning, simple maintenance, social media management, or administrative tasks. The payment is deductible to you, and if under the standard deduction amount, which is $16,100 for single filers in 2026, they don't even have to file a tax return. For kids under 18 working in a parent's business, there are no payroll taxes either. No Social Security, Medicare, or unemployment taxes. Even if your kids are over 18, you can still employ them. They'll pay some payroll taxes, but they'll likely be in a much lower tax bracket than you are. The key is that the work has to be legitimate and the pay has to be reasonable for the work performed. Document what they do and pay them what you'd pay anyone else for the same work. This strategy works with other family members too, spouses, parents, siblings, as long as they're doing real work for your rental property business. All right, let's wrap this up. We've covered the top 9 tax deductions for rental property owners. Depreciation, the king of all deductions. Repairs, but watch out for the improvement trap. Mortgage interest with no limits for investments. Home office, your gateway to mileage deductions. Professional fees, including legal protection. Travel and auto expenses. Every business mile counts. Property taxes and utilities, no limits on investment properties. The family payroll strategy, tax-free money to your kids. And here's the bottom line. Rental real estate offers some of the most powerful tax advantages in the entire tax code. These deductions are so strong that many real estate investors pay zero income tax while building substantial wealth. But here's what's crucial. You need to make sure you're working with a tax professional who understands real estate investing. Too many CPAs are scared of these deductions or don't understand how they work. If you want to dive deeper into real estate tax strategies, grab my book, Your Biggest Expense: How to Legally Pay Less in Taxes and Keep More Wealth, at yourbiggestexpense.com. It has an entire section on real estate investing strategies that could save you thousands. But before you go, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my tax strategy videos. I post new content every week that could literally save you thousands of dollars. What rental property tax questions do you have? Drop them in the comments below and I'll make sure to address them in future videos. And if you found value in this video, please share it with other real estate investors who need to know about these deductions. Remember, it's not what you make, it's what you keep, so keep more.